Welcome back. Now it's time for Forum Daily's weekly energy update with Dan McTeague, President at Canadians for Affordable Energy. Over to you, Dan.
Well, thank you, David. Again, another crazy week on the markets. We saw what was a ridiculous drop on Thursday, about 5%, 4%, the price of oil and associated products. There's been no drop in demand. There has been no sign of any global recession. There has not certainly been any withdrawal of the tensions that we're seeing from Russia and Ukraine and in the Middle East. What we are instead seeing is people playing the system. And what's going to happen is short-term gain, but long-term pain. OPEC, in my view, will have to do what it has said for some time, rightly pointing out that North American financial markets on energy are dysfunctional. They clearly are. To see that kind of a drop without any justification isn't just a sign that they don't understand how recessions operate or how the status of the economy. It does suggest that we're seeing drops in the price at the pumps, which may very well make a lot of people very happy, but they can lead and will lead to a significant and dramatic correction at some point. That's why I believe that we're likely to see more of this tug of war in terms of gas prices and diesel prices right across the country. Vancouver, for instance, tomorrow and Saturday will see the lowest price it's paid since about October 14th. Same for Victoria and Vancouver Island. For the rest of British Columbia, in the $1.70, $1.63 range, you're looking at prices that go back to about that time. A bit of a benefit, even on the diesel side. For Alberta, well, we're seeing prices we haven't seen this year. High end $1.28, low end $1.20. Again, a function of the fact that that province no longer has any provincial taxes, and the prices are beginning to reflect the lower values for markets for gasoline and for diesel and for, of course, oil. The other part, Saskatchewan, never changes, always low, always in the 145 range with $1.42 up in Saskatoon. Winnipeg doesn't seem to ever move. They love $1.58, $1.52 rather. They love to keep it there. It's likely to stay there, although I think there's certainly an argument that Winnipeg and Manitoba prices should drop about 8 to 10 cents a litre. For Ontario, you're seeing on Saturday $1.44.9, mostly in Southern Ontario. That's the lowest price we've seen since March 28th, which was a Tuesday of this year. So again, considering we're heading into winter, demand is still very strong. We could get a cold snap at some point. Watch diesel prices go up and bring gasoline with it. Same for Montreal and Quebec. Follow the same New York spot market for gasoline and for diesel. We're seeing prices there as high or as low as $1.58.9. Remember, of course, Ontario has taxes that are about 12 cents cheaper than Quebec. Nevertheless, for the Atlantic provinces, we've also seen a bit of an increase, 1.5 cents a liter. Look for those prices to decrease. And in fact, in Atlantic provinces where there's a regulated market, people tend to have to hang on to these prices a little longer. The higher price that the rest of the country has enjoyed, they don't get them because regulated markets really do wonders for consumers. They actually don't. I'm speaking tongue in cheek. And what's happening there, David, is that consumers are not very well served by a regulatory body that's trying to mimic what the real market says, and which is very predictable day to day. So if you go to Gas Price Wizard, our account, you will see that there is, every indication that we could see up and down 2 or 3 cents a liter every day for the foreseeable week or so. My estimation is that if you're in Atlantic Canada, you may want to hold off until Tuesday or Wednesday. It may be that they will have to use their extraordinary measures, interrupter clauses, whatever, to bring prices down. For the rest of Canada, look for a drop on Saturday and an increase on Sunday, and that increase will stay in effect until about Wednesday or Thursday, at which point I think we're going to have a market that's going to have to respond ultimately to fundamentals, supply and demand, a colder snap. All of these things point that by this time next week, we could be talking about a significant lift in energy prices, regardless of what the short sellers are doing and the hedge funds are doing, the games they're playing along with artificial intelligence to drive down the price of a commodity that is in very high demand, is strategic, and can't be toyed around as if it's some kind of a meme stock. David, that's it for this week. Let's talk next week, and looking forward to giving people an even better and more precise understanding where we're heading as we head towards Christmas.
Thanks so much, Dan. And that was Dan McTeague, President of Canadians for Affordable Energy, with our weekly energy update.